Lieutenant Han Ta-sung stood at the window of the starship Heaven's Gate, watching the strange purple planet grow larger. His dark uniform felt tight around his neck, and he pulled at the collar, trying to stay calm. This was humanity's big moment, their first meeting with the Viridian Coalition. Lieutenant Han, the alien ship is asking for docking permission, said Dr. Kim Soo-ji, walking up beside him. She was shorter than him, with quick eyes that seemed to notice everything. Her white lab coat had too many pockets, all stuffed with different scanning devices. "Granted," Tai-sung said. He turned to face the crew on the bridge. "Everyone remember your training. We're making history today." The ship shook slightly as the alien vessel connected with their docking port. Tai-sung watched the airlock readings carefully. The aliens had said their air was safe for humans, but he wasn't taking any chances. He checked his hidden breathing mask one more time. 6 aliens walked onto their ship. They were tall and thin, with skin that changed colors like oil on water. Their eyes were huge, taking up most of their faces. The leader stepped forward and spoke through a translation device. "We welcome you, Earth beings. I am High Commander Valtek of the Viridian Coalition." Tai-sung bowed slightly. Lieutenant Han Ta-sung of the Korean Space Force, representing Earth's United Space Command. He waved Soo-ji forward. "This is Dr. Kim Soo-ji, our chief scientist." The aliens looked at them with their big eyes. One in the back was using some kind of scanner. Suddenly, it made a sharp noise, and all the aliens stepped back. "There must be an error," the alien with the scanner said. "The readings show they're from a... This can't be right." Valtek moved closer to look at the scanner. His skin turned a pale blue color. "A Class 12 planet. That's a death world." The room got very quiet. Soo-ji stepped forward, her own scanner in hand. "Is there a problem? Earth is indeed a Class 12 planet by your standards. We included this in our first message." The aliens started talking to each other in their own language, their skin flashing different colors. Tai-sung noticed their hands moving to their weapons. He kept his voice calm and friendly. "Is everything all right, High Commander?" Valtek's skin settled into a deep purple. You actually evolved on a death world. With high gravity, extreme temperatures, dangerous radiation levels, and aggressive predators." "Yes," said Tai-sung. "Earth has many challenges, but it's our home. We've learned to handle them." The aliens whispered among themselves again. Soo-ji's scanner beeped quietly, and she frowned at the readings. She moved closer to Tai-sung and whispered, "Their heart rates are elevated. They're afraid of us." Tai-sung hadn't expected this. How could these advanced aliens be scared of humans? Their technology was hundreds of years ahead of Earth's. Their ships could jump across galaxies. Their weapons could take apart things at the molecular level. Valtek spoke again, but his voice was different now. We need to discuss this development. Please, accept our invitation to visit our ship tomorrow. We will show you our greatest technological achievements. It will be a great honor." Tai-sung smiled and nodded. "We would be honored." But he noticed how the alien skin kept flashing nervous colors, how they kept their distance, how their hands stayed near their weapons. After the aliens left, Soo-ji turned to him. "Something's not right. Their biological readings showed fear and aggression. We should be careful." Tai-sung looked out the window at the alien ship. It was beautiful, all smooth curves and shining metal. But now it seemed less welcoming. "Log everything you picked up on your scanners. I'll double the security detail for tomorrow's visit." He touched the hidden breathing mask again. "Sometimes the most dangerous moment is when you think you're making a friend." Soo-ji nodded and went back to her instruments. Tai-sung stayed at the window, watching the alien ship. Tomorrow they would see the Viridian's greatest technology. He hoped it would be amazing. He had no idea that they planned to use that technology to try to kill them all. On board the Viridian ship, High Commander Valtek called an emergency meeting. The room was cold and bright, filled with floating screens showing human biological data. The commander's skin flickered between dark purple and red as he spoke. "These humans are Deathworlders," he said to the gathered scientists and military leaders. "They are too dangerous to let into our space." Chief Scientist Dalrak stepped forward. He was younger than the others, his skin a steady green color. "Our scans show they have dense muscles, thick bones, and powerful healing abilities. Their bodies are built to survive things that would kill us instantly." "Then we must act now, before they realize their advantage," said Valtek. He turned to Dalrak. "Is the molecular disruptor ready?" "Yes, Commander. We've never used it on Deathworlders before, but it should break down any organic matter into basic atoms." Dalrak brought up a diagram of the weapon. "We'll disguise it as part of tomorrow's technology demonstration." Meanwhile, on the Heaven's Gate, Dr. Kim Sujai couldn't sleep. She sat in her lab, going over her scanner readings again and again. Something about the alien's behavior bothered her. Lieutenant Han Ta-sung found her there, still working late into the night. "You should rest," he said, bringing her a cup of coffee. "Tomorrow's a big day." Sujai looked up from her screens. "Their technology readings don't make sense. They're hiding something powerful behind all those fancy displays they showed us. Something that puts out energy like a small sun." Tai-sung sat down next to her. "Could it be a weapon?" "Maybe. But why show us a weapon during a peace meeting?" She rubbed her tired eyes. "And why were they so scared of us? We're smaller than them. Our ships are weaker. Our weapons are simpler." "Because we survived Earth," Tai-sung said quietly. "Think about it. They live in perfect conditions. No storms, no earthquakes, no dangerous animals. Their bodies are soft. Their bones are light. But we—" He stood up and walked to the window, looking at the purple planet below. "We grew up fighting gravity 6 times stronger than their home world. We survived ice ages and hot summers. Our bodies heal from wounds that would kill them." Suji's eyes widened. "They're not just scared of us. They're terrified." The next morning, the human delegation prepared to board the Viridian ship. Tai-sung made sure everyone wore their hidden breathing masks and carried emergency beacons. Suji brought all her scanning equipment. The Viridian ship was beautiful inside. The walls looked like flowing water, and lights danced in the air around them. But Suji's scanner kept beeping softly, warning her about that strange power source. "Welcome, Earth friends." Valtek's skin was bright yellow now, but Suji noticed it had flecks of dark purple underneath. "We have prepared our greatest technological wonder for you." They were led to a huge room. In the center stood something that looked like a silver tree, its branches reaching to the ceiling. Energy pulsed through it like glowing sap. "This is our molecular manipulation array," Dalrak explained proudly. "It can take apart and rebuild matter at its smallest level. Watch this demonstration." He pressed some controls, and a beam of light hit a metal block. The block dissolved into a cloud of atoms, then reformed as a beautiful crystal sculpture. The humans clapped politely, but Suji's scanner was screaming now. The energy readings were off the charts. She grabbed Tai-sung's arm and whispered, "We need to leave. Now." But Valtek was already sealing the doors. "Please, honored guests, step closer. We have one more demonstration prepared, especially for you." Tai-sung saw the trap too late. The silver tree was turning toward them, its branches glowing with deadly power. This wasn't a demonstration. It was an execution. Time seemed to slow down in the demonstration chamber. Lieutenant Han Ta-sung saw everything at once. The silver tree weapon turning toward them, the sealed doors, and the Viridians moving away to safe positions. Most importantly, he saw Dr. Kim Sujui still focused on her scanner, not noticing the danger right above her. "Get down," Ta-sung shouted, but the room's strange walls caught his voice and made it echo, confusing everyone. The other humans were looking around, not sure what to do. High Commander Valtek's skin turned deep purple with bright red spots. "The Deathworlders must not leave this room," he said to his people. Activate the disruptor at full power. The silver tree hummed louder. Its branches began to spin, creating a web of light above them. Suji finally looked up from her scanner, her eyes going wide as she understood what was happening. "It's not a demonstration device," she said. "It's a—" Tae-sung didn't let her finish. He saw the energy building up in the branches, saw it gathering for a killing strike. Without thinking, he jumped toward Suji. Time was still moving so slowly that he could see individual drops of sweat falling from his face as he moved. "Fire!" Dalrak shouted, pressing the control panel. The silver tree released its power. A beam of pure white light shot down, aimed right where Suji was standing. But Tae-sung reached her first. He pushed her hard, sending her sliding across the smooth floor toward the other humans. Then the beam hit him. The pain was like nothing he had ever felt. Every cell in his body screamed as the weapon tried to pull him apart. Tae-sung felt his skin burning, felt his muscles trying to tear themselves away from his bones. The light was so bright that he couldn't see anything else. "Tae-sung!" Suji screamed. She tried to run to him, but the other humans held her back. The area around Tae-sung was filling with a strange mist, his own body being turned into atoms. The Viridians watched with their huge eyes, their skin turning lighter and lighter until they were almost white. This was what their weapon did. It broke things down to their smallest parts. Nothing had ever survived it. "Increase the power," Valtech ordered. "Keep going until there's nothing left." Dalrak pushed the controls to maximum. The silver tree's branches spun faster and faster, pouring more energy into the beam. The light got even brighter, and the mist around Tae-sung grew thicker. But then something strange happened. The mist began to move in ways it shouldn't. Instead of floating away, it started swirling back toward Tae-sung. The Viridian's instruments showed impossible readings. "The atoms, they're rebonding," Dalrak said in shock. "His cellular structure is rebuilding itself." Through the pain and the light, Tae-sung felt something changing in his body. Earth had made humans strong. Generations of fighting gravity, surviving disasters, and healing from wounds had created something the Viridians didn't understand: the power to adapt and survive. The weapon's light began to fade. The silver tree's branches slowed down, having used all their power. The mist cleared away, and everyone stared in shock. Tae-sung was still standing. His uniform was gone, destroyed by the beam. His skin was red and smoking, but he was alive. More than alive. He felt power coursing through him, like his cells had learned from the attack and grown stronger. "Impossible," Valtech whispered. His skin had turned gray with fear. "Nothing survives the molecular disruptor. Nothing." Tae-sung took a step forward. The Viridians took 3 steps back. Even breathing hurt, but he made himself stand straight and looked them in their big, frightened eyes. "You wanted to see what a Deathworlder can survive," he said, his voice rough but strong. "Well, now you know." Suji finally broke free and ran to him, her scanner already checking his condition. But she didn't need instruments to know something amazing had happened. The weapon that should have destroyed him had only made him stronger. The demonstration chamber was completely silent. Nobody moved. The Viridians stared at Tae-sung with their huge eyes, unable to believe what they were seeing. Their most powerful weapon had failed. Dr. Kim Suji's scanner made a series of loud beeps. She looked at the readings and gasped. "Tae-sung, your cells, they're different now." Tae-sung looked down at his hands. His skin was glowing slightly, like there was energy flowing under it. When he moved his fingers, he could see small sparks of the weapon's light dancing between them. "Scan complete," Suji announced, her voice shaking with excitement. "Your body didn't just survive the attack. It learned from it. Your cells are now producing the same kind of energy that the weapon used." High Commander Valtech backed away until he hit the wall. His skin was flashing between gray and white so fast it looked like a strobe light. "This is not possible," he kept saying. "This cannot be possible." Tae-sung took another step forward. This time, when his foot touched the ground, it left a small glowing footprint. The other humans watched in amazement as their lieutenant seemed to shine from within. "Your weapon," Tae-sung said, looking at Chief Scientist Dalrak. "How does it work?" Dalrak's hands shook as he answered. It breaks the bonds between molecules. Nothing should be able to put them back together. Nothing. Except a body that evolved to survive everything that Deathworld could throw at it, Suji said. She was walking around Tae-sung now, taking readings from every angle. "Our cells are used to rebuilding themselves after damage. They're programmed to adapt and survive." Suddenly, Tae-sung felt a surge of energy in his body. Without thinking, he raised his hand, and a small beam of light shot from his palm. It hit a wall and left a mark just like the weapon had made. "Fascinating," Suji exclaimed. "Your cells have copied the weapon's energy pattern. They're using it like a new kind of muscle." The Viridian guards raised their smaller weapons, but their hands were shaking so badly they could barely hold them. Valtek's skin had settled on a sickly gray color. What do you want?" the High Commander asked. Tae-sung looked at the scared aliens, then at his fellow humans. He could feel the power rushing through him, getting stronger by the minute. He could probably destroy this whole room if he wanted to. But that wasn't why humans had come to space. "We wanted to be friends," he said quietly. "We wanted to share knowledge and work together. You're the ones who tried to kill us." Suji touched his arm gently. "Your body temperature is rising. The energy needs to stabilize." She turned to Dalrak. "We need your help. If we don't understand how this change works, it could hurt him." Dalrak looked at his commander, then back at the glowing human. Slowly, his skin changed from fearful gray to a cautious green. You want my help, after we try to." "Yes," Suji said firmly. "Because that's what humans do. We survive, we adapt, and we try to understand. Will you help us?" The chief scientist's skin rippled with different colors as he thought. Finally, he stepped forward. "The energy pattern is similar to our power cores. If his cells are copying it, we need to contain it properly or what?" Ta-sung asked, noticing that the glow under his skin was getting brighter. "Or you might overload," Dalrak said, "like a star going supernova." Tae-sung looked at his glowing hands again. He had survived the weapon, but now he had to survive its gift. He nodded to Dalrak. "Then let's figure this out, together." The Viridian scientist slowly approached, his scanner ready. Suji moved to work with him, both of them focused on saving Tae-sung rather than fighting each other. And that was how the first real cooperation between humans and Viridians began, not through careful diplomacy, but through a failed assassination attempt that proved humans were more remarkable than anyone had imagined. In the Viridian ship's main laboratory, Dr. Kim Soo-jae stared through a microscope at a sample of Tae-sung's blood. The cells glowed like tiny stars, pulsing with the same energy that had tried to destroy them. "This is amazing," she said, looking up at Chief Scientist Dalrak. "His cells didn't just resist the molecular disruptor. They're using its energy to make themselves stronger." Dalrak's skin had turned a light blue color, showing his scientific curiosity was stronger than his fear now. "But how? Our weapon should have broken all molecular bonds. Nothing can survive that." "Earth life can," Suji said. She pressed some buttons, and a large screen showed Tae-sung's cells moving. "Look at this. When your weapon hit him, his cells didn't fight against being broken apart. They learned the pattern of how they were being broken, then used that same pattern to put themselves back together." In a separate room, Tae-sung sat in a large metal chamber. Wires connected him to many machines that beeped and hummed. The glow under his skin had grown stronger, and sometimes small sparks would jump between his fingers. "How do you feel?" Suji asked through a speaker. "Strong," Tae-sung answered. "Too strong, maybe. Like I'm full of lightning that wants to get out." Dalrak checked his instruments. The energy levels are still rising. His cells are producing more power than our weapon did. His skin flickered with worry. If we don't find a way to control it. I know, Suji said. He could overload. She turned back to her microscope and the screen. But look at this pattern. His cells are trying to make something. Some kind of storage system. Dalrak moved closer to look. His big eyes got even wider. That's impossible. They're creating molecular structures like our power cores, but organically, made of living cells. Suji smiled. That's what Earth life does. We adapt. When something tries to kill us, we don't just survive. We learn from it. Make ourselves better. She brought up images of Earth on another screen. See these animals. This fish can freeze solid in winter and come back to life in spring. This plant can survive being completely dried out for years. This tiny animal can live in the vacuum of space. All from one planet. Dalrak's skin turned purple with shock. Earth is harsh, Suji explained. High gravity, extreme temperatures, radiation, deadly predators, natural disasters. Everything on Earth had to become incredibly tough to survive. Our cells learned to repair almost any damage. And now they've learned to use our most powerful weapon as a new energy source. Dalrak finished. His skin showed swirls of blue and green, wonder mixed with worry. In the chamber, Tae-sung suddenly groaned. The glow under his skin was getting brighter. Energy levels critical. Dalrak shouted. The cellular reaction is accelerating. Sujai ran to the chamber's window. Tae-sung, your cells are building something. Storage units for the energy. You need to let them finish. Don't fight it. Tae-sung nodded, sweat running down his face. The glow became so bright that everyone had to look away. There was a sound like distant thunder, then silence. When they looked back, Tae-sung was standing up in the chamber. The wild energy was gone. Instead, lines of soft light moved under his skin in regular patterns, like circuits on a computer chip. The energy. Dalrak checked his instruments in amazement. It's completely stable now. His cells created a perfect organic power grid. Suja rushed into the chamber to scan Tae-sung. How do you feel? Better, he said, looking at the glowing lines on his arms. I can control it now. It feels natural. Dalrak's skin turned bright blue with excitement. This changes everything we know about biology, about energy, about evolution itself. No, Suji said, smiling at Tae-sung. This just proves what Earth life has always known. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, sometimes literally. News spread fast in space. Within 3 days, every species in the Viridian Coalition knew about the human who survived their strongest weapon. The Coalition's communication channels were filled with excited and scared messages about the indestructible Deathworlders. In the Viridian ship's meeting room, High Commander Valtek faced angry calls from other alien leaders. His skin had turned a dull gray from stress. You tested a molecular disruptor on a diplomatic mission. One alien leader shouted. Their tentacles waved angrily on the screen. Are you trying to start a war with these Deathworlders? The human survived. Another leader said. More than survived. He absorbed the weapon's power. Do you realize what this means? Valtek's skin rippled with shame. We thought they were too dangerous to let into our space. But now they're even more powerful, thanks to you. The first leader interrupted. We're sending ships to make peace with Earth immediately. Meanwhile, in the ship's training room, Tae-sung was learning to control his new abilities. The glowing lines under his skin pulsed as he held out his hand. A small ball of energy formed above his palm. Perfect control, Suji said, checking her scanner. The energy output is exactly what you wanted. How does it feel? Like flexing a muscle, Tae-sung answered. But a muscle that can create pure energy. He closed his hand, and the energy ball disappeared. I still can't believe this happened. Dalrak watched from a safe distance, his skin a mix of blue and yellow, fascination and caution. Other species will want to study this ability, he said. They might try to copy it. They can try, Suji said, looking at her data. But it only worked because Taesung is human. Our cells evolved on Earth, where adapting to deadly threats is normal. You can't copy millions of years of Deathworld evolution. Suddenly, the ship's speakers came alive. Attention! Multiple ships approaching. 12. No, 15 vessels from different coalition species. Taesung's body tensed, the lines of energy glowing brighter. Are they here to attack? No, Dalrak said, checking his computer. His skin turned green with surprise. They're all sending the same message. They want to make peace treaties with Earth. Sujai laughed. Nothing brings people together like finding out humans are stronger than they thought. But Taesung wasn't smiling. The energy lines on his skin pulsed with worry. This power, other humans might be able to do the same thing. What if someone uses it wrong? That's why we need to understand it, Suji said softly. She put her hand on his arm, not afraid of the energy flowing under his skin. And that's why it happened to you first. Because you didn't want to fight. You wanted to protect. In his office, Valtek was still dealing with messages from across the galaxy. His screen showed ships from 20 different species now, all heading to meet the humans. His skin had finally settled on a deep blue of acceptance. Send a message to Earth's leaders, he told his staff. Tell them we deeply apologize for our actions. We offer our complete technology database as compensation. And he looked at an image of Taesung controlling energy with his bare hands. We humbly request their friendship. Back in the training room, Taesung created another ball of energy. This time, he shaped it into a small glowing model of Earth. Our home, he said quietly. The Deathworld that made us strong enough to survive anything. Not just survive, Suja corrected him, watching the tiny Earth spin above his palm. Strong enough to change the whole galaxy's future. Dalrak's skin turned a new color, one that humans had never seen before. Perhaps, he said thoughtfully, we were wrong about Deathworlds. Perhaps they don't create monsters. Suja smiled. No, they create survivors, and survivors make the best allies. The glowing Earth in Taesung's hand pulsed once, as if agreeing with her words. The age of hiding what humans could do was over. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth's children were the strongest of all. The main conference room of the Viridian ship had been changed. Now it held a large round table with delegates from 30 different alien species. At the head of the table sat Ambassador Park Myray from Earth, her face calm, but her eyes sharp. Lieutenant Han Taesung stood behind her, the energy lines under his skin glowing softly. Let us be clear, Myray said, her voice firm. You tried to kill our diplomatic team. On a peaceful mission, with a weapon that breaks apart living beings. The alien representatives shifted uncomfortably. High Commander Valtek's skin had turned almost white with shame. We offer our deepest apologies, Valtek said. We will give you all our technology as compensation. Myray shook her head. Technology isn't enough. We want guarantees, safety for all humans in space. And she smiled slightly. We want to study the molecular disruptor. Together. Dr. Kim Sujai stepped forward, holding up her datapad. Our research shows that Lieutenant Han's transformation wasn't just luck. Any human might be able to adapt to energy weapons this way. We should work together to understand it. The alien delegates started whispering among themselves. Some looked scared, others excited. A tall, crystal-like being spoke up. You want to make more humans like him. They pointed at Taesung, whose energy lines pulsed gently. More Deathworlders who can absorb our strongest weapons. No, Suji said firmly. We want to understand how Earth life adapts. This could help everyone. Imagine medical treatments that work like human healing. Ships with living power cores. defenses that get stronger when attacked. Chief Scientist Valrak's skin turned bright blue with excitement. The possibilities are endless. Human cellular adaptation could revolutionize every field of science. Ambassador Mayray nodded. That's what we want. Real cooperation. Real exchange of knowledge. She looked at each alien delegate in turn. But first, you must understand something. Humans aren't dangerous because we're strong. We're dangerous because we survive. We adapt. We grow stronger from things that should kill us. Tai-Sung stepped forward, letting his energy glow a little brighter. Some delegates leaned away, but others leaned closer, fascinated. Look at me, he said quietly. Your weapon should have killed me. Instead, it made me stronger. That's what Earth taught us. Every challenge makes us better. Every failure teaches us something new. Suji brought up a hologram of Earth. Our planet tried to kill us countless times. Storms, earthquakes, ice ages, predators, diseases. But each time, we survived and learned. That's not a threat. That's an invitation. An invitation, asked a small, fuzzy delegate. To learn from each other, Mayray explained. You have amazing technology. We have incredible adaptability. Together, think what we could achieve. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Dalrak stood up, his skin swirling with bold colors. I volunteer to lead the joint research team, he said. Working with Dr. Kim has shown me that humans don't just survive. They inspire. They make others want to be better. One by one, other delegates started offering their help. Medical research, space exploration, defense systems, cultural exchange programs. The fear in the room changed to excitement. Valtek watched it all, his skin slowly turning from shame white to hope green. Perhaps, he said quietly to Mayray, trying to kill your people was the best mistake we ever made. Mayray smiled. That's another thing about humans. We're very good at turning enemies into friends. Outside the conference room window, more ships were arriving. Word had spread across the galaxy. Earth wasn't just joining the galactic community. They were going to change it forever. Tai-Sung looked at his glowing hands and thought about all the humans who would follow him into space. They would face new dangers, new challenges, new attempts to destroy them. And like always, they would survive, adapt, grow stronger, because that's what children of Earth do best. 3 months after the failed assassination attempt, the Viridian space station had changed completely. Now it was full of humans working side by side with aliens from across the galaxy. The fear of Deathworlders had turned into respect and curiosity. In the main research lab, Dr. Kim Sujai and Chief Scientist Dalrak watched through a window as Lieutenant Han Ta-Sung trained other humans to control energy. The glowing lines under his skin had become a badge of honor. Remember, Ta-Sung told his students, the power doesn't come from anger or fear. It comes from our will to survive and protect others. Sujay smiled as she watched a young human officer create her first energy ball. They're learning faster than we expected. Dalrak's skin showed swirls of blue and gold, amazement mixed with pride. Not all of them can do it as well as Tai-Sung, he said, but even a small amount of adaptation is incredible. No other species can copy energy patterns like this. That's because no other species grew up on Earth, Suji explained. She brought up images on her screen. Look at these readings. Every human has the basic ability to adapt. We just never knew how far it could go. In another part of the station, a group of alien scientists were studying videos of Earth. They watched in wonder as animals survived extreme conditions. Bears sleeping through winter, sharks healing from terrible wounds, tiny water bears living in space. Everything on their world is amazing. One scientist said, their tentacles waving with excitement. Even their smallest creatures are tougher than our strongest animals. High Commander Valtek walked past the research rooms, his skin now a permanent shade of humble green. These days, he spent most of his time learning about Earth. The more he learned, the more he understood how wrong they had been to fear humans. In the station's garden area, Tai-sung found Suji working late again. The plants here were from Earth, growing stronger in the artificial gravity. "The latest test results?" he asked, sitting beside her. "Fascinating," Suji said, showing him her data pad. "Your cells are still evolving. The energy patterns are becoming more efficient. And look at this." She pointed to a graph. "The changes are spreading. Your whole body is becoming better at absorbing and using energy." Tae-sung looked at his glowing hands. "I don't feel different. Just more aware of everything. Like I can sense energy all around us." Sujad put down her pad and looked at him closely. Over the past months, they had spent countless hours together studying his condition. Something more than friendship had grown between them, born from shared discovery and trust. "You were the perfect person for this to happen to," she said softly. "You never wanted to use this power to hurt anyone, just to understand and protect." Before Tae-sung could reply, Dalrak rushed into the garden. His skin was flashing with excitement. "You need to see this," he said, bringing up a hologram. "We just got messages from 17 new species. They all want to join the research program. They're calling Earth the Crucible of Strength now." Sujai laughed. "From feared Deathworlders to respected teachers. Not bad for 3 months' work." Tai-sung created a small energy display, making it dance between his fingers. "We're teaching them about adaptation and survival. But they're teaching us too. About cooperation, about sharing knowledge, about not letting fear control us," Dalrak added, his skin showing deep purple, the color of wisdom. "We thought Earth made you dangerous. Now we understand it made you incredible." Through the garden's window, they could see Earth ships arriving at the station. More humans coming to learn, to teach, to show the galaxy what Deathworld evolution really meant. "What do you think the future holds?" Suji asked, watching the ship's dock. Tai-sung took her hand, letting his energy warm her gently. "Whatever it brings, we'll adapt. That's what humans do best." And in the artificial light of the space station, Earth's plants grew stronger, just like its people, teaching the galaxy that sometimes the harshest beginnings create the most remarkable endings. 1 year after the molecular disruptor incident, Earth had changed forever. The planet was now home to the headquarters of the Deathworld Defense Alliance, a new organization that brought together humans and aliens to share knowledge about survival and adaptation. Lieutenant Han Ta-sung, now Colonel Han, stood at the window of the Alliance's main building in Seoul. The energy lines under his skin glowed softly as he watched alien ships land alongside human ones. Behind him, Dr. Kim Suji was preparing for another day of teaching alien scientists about Earth life. "Ready for today's demonstration?" she asked, walking up beside him. The diamond ring on her finger caught the morning light, matching the glow of his energy patterns. "Always," Tae-sung smiled. "The new group from the Crystal Worlds is very excited to learn about human adaptation." The demonstration area was filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Chief Scientist Dalrak, now the head of Joint Research, stood at the front. His skin showed the deep blue of scientific excitement that had become his normal color these days. "Today," Dalrak announced, "we will show you something amazing. Not just how humans survive, but how they help others survive too." Tai-sung stepped onto the demonstration platform. The energy within him had grown stronger over the past year, but now he could control it perfectly. He held out his hands, and streams of pure energy flowed between them. "What you're seeing isn't just power," Suji explained to the audience. "It's the ability to adapt, to change, to grow stronger from challenges. And now we can share this gift." She pressed a button, and a screen showed microscope images of cells, some human, some alien, all learning to work together in new ways. The aliens watched in wonder as Tai-sung demonstrated how human adaptation could help protect and strengthen other forms of life. In another part of the building, High Commander Valtek, now Ambassador Valtek, was meeting with Earth's leaders. His skin showed the confident green of someone who had learned from his mistakes. The molecular disruptor research has led to incredible medical breakthroughs, he reported. Thanks to human cellular adaptation, we can now heal injuries that were once fatal. Ships can repair themselves using living energy cores. Even our worlds are becoming stronger. Outside, in the Alliance's garden, Earth plants grew alongside alien species. What should have killed them instead made them stronger, just like the humans who had brought them here. Young human officers trained with alien teachers, learning to understand and control the energy that flowed through all living things. Did you ever think it would turn out like this? Suji asked Taesung as they walked through the garden later that day. That almost being killed would lead to all of this. Taesung created a small energy butterfly that flew around them. Earth taught us that survival isn't just about being tough. It's about learning, growing, and helping others grow too. Dalrak joined them, his skin showing happy swirls of all colors. The galaxy called you Deathworlders, he said. Now they call you teachers, protectors, friends. Above them, more ships arrived from distant worlds. Each one carried beings who wanted to learn the secrets of Earth's strength. Not to become killers, but to become survivors. To learn how to turn danger into opportunity, fear into understanding. The future is changing, Suji said, looking up at the ships. And we're changing with it. Taesung took her hand, their rings glowing with shared energy. That's what Earth taught us best, he said. Change is just another word for growth. In the garden, a new flower bloomed, an impossible hybrid of Earth and alien plants. Like the Alliance itself, it was stronger because it brought together the best of all worlds. And high above, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, knowing that the children of Earth were coming to teach the galaxy how to survive, adapt, and grow stronger together. The molecular disruptor that should have ended humanity's journey to the stars had instead begun a new chapter, not just for Earth, but for all living things that wanted to learn the greatest lesson of all. That life, no matter where it comes from, finds a way to grow stronger through adversity. And that was the greatest victory of all.